y'all, welcome back to the channel. It is your girl Brandy and I'm back with another video. So as you guys could tell by the title of this video, I am getting ready to read my TBR Jar March pick. So if you watched my February reading wrap up, you know I picked my TBR Jar pick for March. That's typically how I've been doing it lately. So if you've been missing that, they are at the end of my wrap up. So I will wrap up the previous month and then I will get my TBR jar and pick a title out of that jar to read for the upcoming month. So if you have not seen my TBR jar, this is it. Nothing fancy. It's just one of those jars that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and it does say to be read jar on there. And in here I have my 25 titles that I have to read this year. So for the month of March, my pick was Hold My Girl by Charlene Carr. And this is it. We're matching today. So cute. I love that for us. And so I was very excited to pull this because the story is very intriguing. That's number one. So the story is the blurb on this says 2 women, 2 eggs, 1 life-changing switch. So the synopsis says Catherine finally has it all. She spent her entire life striving for perfection, obsessing over her spotless home, maintaining her pristine reputation, building her perfect family, and her hard work has now paid off. After 7 difficult years of trying and failing to conceive, Catherine gives birth to Rose, her IVR miracle child, and at last has what she's wanted most of all. But one thing isn't quite perfect. Rose's pale skin doesn't match Catherine's complexion, and an irritating doubt begins to grow in Catherine's mind. Tess never got the happy ending she wanted. She underwent IVR at the same clinic as Catherine. But after finally conceiving, Tess's daughter was stillborn. Now, a year later, she's approaching rock bottom. Consumed by her grief and without hope for the future, Tess is divorced, broke, and stuck in a dead-end job beneath her skill set. But shortly before Rose's first birthday, Catherine and Tess get a call from the fertility clinic. Their eggs were switched. And y'all, I know this book is gonna break my heart. As a mom, I know this book is going to break my heart, and I'm pretty sure it's going to break my heart for both characters, because on one hand, it's I can't conceive, so I went the IVR way and I finally got my baby, and then I find out this baby doesn't belong to me. Then on the other hand, it's somebody got my baby and I need to get my baby. Where my baby at? So I'm so excited about this one. I wouldn't say I've been pushing it off, but I did get this book gifted to me towards the end of last year. Yeah, I won it in a bookish giveaway on Bookstagram. And so I am finally gonna get to this book. I'm really excited about it. I did look at the chapters just to see what the vibe is, because y'all, for some reason, I've been picking up books with long chapters, and this one I cannot get the audiobook for it. So I had to double check and make sure that these chapters were short. So the chapters appear to be short. Like on chapter 1, it's 5 pages in chapter 1. Chapter 2, about the same. Let's see, chapter 3, yeah, about the same. So, and it looks like it's multiple point of views. So Catherine has a point of view and Tess has a point of view. So yeah, I am going to start this evening after I'm finished with dinner, taking my shower and all of that. I think I'm going to try to finish this in 5 days. So once I'm done, like getting settled in, having dinner, and getting comfy. I'm going to break this down so that I can finish it in 5 days, because I don't want to. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm not taking books further than 5 days, because I can, because I read multiple books. So sometimes I take books longer. And so I really want to get this one done in 5 days, because I really want to make sure I get it read and finished. So yeah, once I start this book, I will be back to check in with you guys, probably give you some initial thoughts, and let you guys know how I'm going to do the chapter breakdown. So I just got to work and I wanted to come and give you guys an update on Hold My Girl. I did divide the chapters up, like I said, amongst 5 days. So it's 64 chapters in this book. So 4 days I'll be reading 13 chapters, and then 1 day I'll be reading 12 chapters. So I actually read 12 chapters yesterday, since I started like late in the evening time. And my first impression is, like I told you guys yesterday, the chapters are short. They are short and they are easy to read. Like, the writing style for the author flows well enough for you to run through the chapters. And they are jam-packed with juicy tea. Okay, so far they've been jam-packed with juicy tea that makes you just want to flip the pages. So yes, short chapters, we all love a short chapter. The writing style for the author is easy to read. It flows very well, and it does make you flip through the pages quickly. The way Catherine and Tess found out about how their eggs were switched was very ghetto, to say the least. Like, granted, Catherine had the opportunity to find out a whole lot sooner than she did. She just decided not to take in the information that she was offered at the time. And so the way that they were just disclosed this information was very ghetto. Very ghetto. And it's a common way that a lot of people find out information like this, especially unheard of information like this, because everybody wants a piece of this story. So yeah, the way they found out was crazy. And the doctor that they work with at the clinic, she obviously don't know what HIPAA is. She violated the HIPAA policy so much so I was cringing, and I had to tell my husband about it. So both me and my husband work in healthcare, and the way she violated that HIPAA policy, I was like, girl, I hope that comes back up, because she needs to be fired. Hands down, she needs to be fired, because no ma'am, no you didn't. A doctor, no ma'am, no you didn't do that. And she did. The way she was so easily able to violate the HIPAA policy, I get it, because this is a situation that you don't really see every day, right? The eggs swapped, like, girl, what? Like, you know, and she's so under pressure. A lot of people are asking her tons of questions. She doesn't really have the answers, because this is one of those case-by-case situations, and it's a new case type of situation. So she is not thinking before she speaks, and I hate that for her. I wonder if they're, and they should, because of the nature of the story, if they're going to bring that back up, because they're obviously going to have to go to court and all of this jazz. Catherine is a black woman. Obviously, I think I read that in the synopsis. She's a black woman, married, just couldn't conceive. Tess, she's a white woman, recently divorced, and she doesn't have a whole lot of money. I don't like to use the word poor, but she has low income. very low income. So I can't wait to see how this story folds out. I can't wait to see how this story folds out, because Tess, she like, okay, so y'all saying I got a baby out there? Where my baby at? You know, where's my baby? I want to see my baby. I want to be in my baby's life, obviously, because I went through the IVR process because I wanted a baby. So yeah, where's my child? And then Catherine is like, no, this is my baby. Are they going to take my baby from me? This is my baby. I carried this baby. I birthed this baby. And I've been taking care of this baby. She's mine. She's mine. She's mine. So I can't wait to see how this story folds out. Later on today, I will be reading my next 13 chapters. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. So a little side note, I went to Dunkin' today, and it's actually been a while, and I had a coupon for the energy drink. So this is the peach sparkling energy drink that they have. Y'all, I fear I'm going to be addicted. I fear there's going to be an addiction that I'm not going to be able to pull away from. So as y'all already know, I mentioned in a previous vlog that I've been in my matcha bag, okay? I tried the cherry matcha when I went to that coffee shop, and then I've been doing the lavender matchas from Starbucks, or just the regular matcha with vanilla syrup added, and however else I get it. But I fear me and Duncan, I fear this is gonna be my spring drink here, because I've been trying to like pull back from coffee just a little bit. I still love my coffee. I'm still a Dunkin' iced coffee cold brew girl. But I've been trying to pull away from it, because the way I like my coffee is not the healthiest. Because I will do all the sugar-free syrups, but then I will go heavy on the cream. And girl, what's the point? But I like coffee in my cream and not cream in my coffee. So there's that. But yeah, so far so good on Hold My Hand. I cannot wait to get back into it. When I got another bookish update, I'll be back. So I am on I just finished chapter 15. And they are trying to come up with a way to kind of like just come up with some best case scenarios, right? And I just feel like both of you guys were doing the IVR procedures. If it were the other way around, how would you want the woman who has your child, because the eggs were swapped, how would you want her to react, right? I think, like, I understand both sides, right? Like, this is my baby. I birthed this baby. I had this baby. This is my baby. But being that you guys were both trying to have kids, it seemed like you would be a little bit more sensitive towards the mom who egg you got. Because not even because she lost her own baby. You know, your child, she lost it. Not because she lost the egg that was implanted in her that belonged to you, but because you guys should be able to relate to one another about this entire process. Like, y'all should be able to come up with some type of an agreement, because if it were the other way around, you would want your child back because you've been paying for this procedure. You've been doing the every session for it, and you know, you got pregnant and you lost what you thought was your child, but then you find out somebody else that had your egg successfully had the child and it belongs to you. Like, how would you feel? Like, and if they are coming to you like, okay, let's do 50-50, let's co-parent, why wouldn't you be willing to do that? In my head, now, granted, this isn't my experience, but I feel like a fair scenario would be, let's do 50-50. We all just be in this baby's life at this point, because you indeed carried her for 9 months and had her. But that's my egg. Let's just go 50-50 at this point. I feel like that would be the only reasonable case. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that, being that you guys are in the same predicament, same situation? Like, it's the same. Like, you should feel for her. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. This can change, but right now I'm just like, you should feel for her, because if it were you, wouldn't you want to do, at least if she offered 50-50, wouldn't you be willing to take that? Wouldn't you hope she allow that? So I'm on chapter 28 and I'm behind. The 5-day plan I had going, like, it's been thrown in the trash because it's now the weekend and it's hard for me to read on the weekends, but I'm still pushing through. And my thoughts still remain the same. I find myself siding with Tess the most. Tess is the one whose baby was in Catherine. I find like they're both right, but I find myself siding with Tess the most, simply because they're going through the same thing. If the situation was different, and I don't know how different it could have been, right? But if the situation was slightly different, they didn't even know each other. Because I think what makes matters worse is that they're in the same circles. They're in the same friend group, same circles. So I think that's kind of what makes matters worse. But I know this story has had a lot of people torn in between the two. But I just find myself siding with Tess a little bit more than Catherine. I get it. You know, Catherine carried the baby. She went through that whole first year. And you guys know the first year is usually the hardest, because you and the baby are both trying to adapt to this new way of living. Feedings, waking up in the middle of the night, you know, all of that. Teething, you recovering because you just had a baby. You know, I get that. But I just can't get over the fact that you are acting like you didn't go through an IVR process to get the baby, and you are acting like if it were you, you wouldn't act like Tess is acting. And then her husband because he's her husband, I feel like he's siding with his wife because that's his wife and not because that's the right thing to do. I think he's more torn in between the two than she is. And no, I think he's more torn in between the two than the reader is. Actually, not than she is, because Catherine is not torn between nothing. She said the baby is hers. She said what she said. But I had set the book down last night because it wasn't going anywhere, but stuff started getting a little messy. So now it's pushing through. So I'm trying to get some more reading done today. I am officially reading what I should have been reading yesterday. So if I want to get caught up, I need to read this much. I don't think I will be, but I'm gonna try. But yeah, I don't know, like, I'm trying to put myself in Catherine's shoes, because I will be upset. You telling me that this baby that I just had, I just pushed out, we getting ready to celebrate her first birthday. You telling me she's not mine and she belongs to somebody else, knowing I tried hard to have a baby. I went through the IVR process and I finally got what I believed was my baby. I finally got it. And now you guys are trying to take it away from me? Like, I get it. But then the other side of me is like, but in the same breath, you did go through the IVR process and you do know what it's like to have finally gotten the baby. So why wouldn't you be willing to share? Tess is just asking to co-parent. She not asking to take the baby 100%. She's not asking for full custody. She's literally asking to co-parent. And I think Tess approached the situation with the most fair scenario. She just did. It's a unique situation, and you have to think of unique scenarios for this situation. No. You have to come out with a unique outcome. No. Because you don't see this often. It happens, but you don't see this often. But again, I'm not in their shoes, so it's hard. I'm just the reader, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint what I would do because I'm not in their shoes. But as a reader, I just find myself siding with Tess a little bit more than Catherine. I feel like that's just how I feel. You know, sometimes when you're going through stuff and you might be venting to a friend or just talking to a friend and not necessarily venting, but the conversation, the topic comes up because it's an important topic in your life. Sometimes people like to vent and not receive any response. They just need to talk to somebody and for somebody to listen. They just need a listening ear. But then sometimes you want to vent and you want someone else's perspective on a situation. You want somebody else's opinion on a situation. Just not necessarily to make you feel better, but sometimes just for clarity. And so, you know, sometimes when you're talking to someone, venting to someone about anything, a lot of times if it's something bad going on in your life, you don't want someone to toss in their experience, because as the receiver, you didn't really ask, right? You didn't ask about them. We're talking about me. I didn't ask you your experience. We're talking about me. This is about me right now. But then as the person given the information, they're trying to give you personal experience so that they can show that they can relate, not necessarily turning this conversation around and making it about them, but being either in agreement with you, or the opposite, not agreeing with you, and just giving you an example why. But as a receiver, because we've all been a receiver before, it's kind of hard to take that in, because we're talking about me right now. Why did you bring you up, right? And so right here, I'm reading where Catherine is talking to Tracy. Now I forget her relationship with Tracy. I really think it's just her friend. And Tracy gave her an example that she felt like was relatable, a personal example to Catherine, and she felt like it would be relatable to what she was going through. And she said, I've been thinking about you, this horrible situation, and well, there's so much I can say, but I'll just say this. And I know it's not the same situation. It's not at all. But when I went looking for my birth mother, I was afraid to tell my mom, afraid of what it would even mean. Finding the other woman, maybe loving her, and if I did, rather the love I had for my adoptive mother would change. Lesson. I think my adoptive mother was afraid too, but something I learned that we both learned is love doesn't split. When you share it, it grows. And so we get internal monologue, Catherine's thoughts while Tracy is telling her this, and she's basically like, Catherine was wanting to tell Tracy that it wasn't the same, not at all, but she knew Tracy was just trying to help, and that was nice to have this friend who cared. And on the surface, it's different, right? Because we're talking about Tracy being adopted and looking for her birth mother. But when you think about it, when this little girl grows up, if she were to ever find out that she an IVR baby, and that's how she was conceived, she may want to know who her mom is, right? She may want to know, and with that, she may be afraid to tell Catherine that she's looking for her mom, her biological mom. She might be afraid, and for the same reason that Tracy was afraid to tell her adoptive mother that she was looking for her biological mom, because Catherine will feel like, oh my gosh, she's gonna find her biological mother, and she's not going to love me anymore. She's going to probably love her biological mother and form this type of relationship with her. So yes, it is the same, Catherine. When you think about it, currently, like, the surface, like right now, the baby is 1. So no, it's not the same. We're talking about IVR versus adoption. But you have to think past 1 year, because with this being in the media, it can get back to your daughter. It can get back to her. And then when she finds out that they are the child that they were talking about in the media, she's going to have questions and concerns. Now, in cases like this, a lot of times people try to block where the media can even know anything and keep the situation private. But say they don't keep it private, right? Baby girl's business is out there. So if she were to ever find out, she's going to want to know who her biological mother is. And then when she finds out, she's going to be afraid to tell Catherine. She will be afraid. And then for me, I think she will be more willing to look for her biological mom than someone who was adopted. Because most times when children are given up for adoption and they grow older and they get the information that they are adopted, the first thing that come to mind is, my parents didn't want me, my mama didn't want me, so why should I go looking for them, right? Why should I go looking for them? Versus someone who is in an IVR, baby, where my mama at? Y'all had some issues. And I want to know who I belong to. Back with the final reading update. Today is day 5, so I'm excited because I did finish the book in 5 days like I planned. I was a little scared because over the weekend life was lifing. Not really, the toddler was toddling, and so I wasn't able to get as much reading done, but I typically don't get a lot of reading done over the weekend anyway. I get most of my reading done during the week, but I'm glad I separated the chapters. That way I can get everything read in 5 days. So of course I'm gonna save my rating for my reading wrap up, which is gonna be the next video after this one. And the outcome of this book was not the outcome that I was hoping for. However, there was so much character development that even with the outcome that we were given in this novel, due to the character development, things just worked out in their favor, right? So, man, so much has happened since the last reading update I gave you guys, because the last reading update I was still kind of like in a rut. It was kind of like a slow part of the book where I felt like we were still world building, right? We were getting to know the characters, getting to know their characteristics, getting to know both moms and their backstories and what's going on with them, what's going on with their families, and what's going on with everybody that is important in their lives. And during that time, I was getting kind of bored. I wasn't necessarily putting the book down, but I can see myself drifting off. I will read a page here and there, pick up my phone, do other things, because let's go to court. I'm ready for them to go to court and duke it out at this point, right? I'm ready for the custody battle. And so with this, because the custody battle is over swapped eggs and the mom's doing the IVR process, you know, it's quite different than adoption or somebody losing custody of their children due to whatever, right? It's a little bit different, but then in a way it's kind of the same. So what I've learned is that the judge just has to look at things a little bit differently. So they are paying attention to both moms' lifestyles and how they are living. So a lot of skeletons were pulled out, like a lot of skeletons. There are trigger warnings in this book. So if you guys decide to read, I mean, the book itself to me is a trigger. Personally, the subject matter of the book itself is a trigger, but then there's other things that happen in this book that can be a trigger for some. So I highly recommend that you check the triggers for this. Google the triggers, see if those triggers will impact you in any kind of way before picking this novel up, because some skeletons were pulled. And child, listen, on both sides, just listen. Unlikable characters. Tess's mother, I didn't like her. She was one of those moms that was very stern. I think she was an immigrant, and she basically had to work extremely hard to where she is today. And because she worked extremely hard for where she is today and worked extremely hard for her children to have a great life, she didn't tolerate nothing from them, nothing horrible from them. You gonna do X, Y, and Z, and you gonna do it just like this. And if you don't, I'm gonna disown you. Period. And I get it, right? Because I worked hard to be here. I worked hard and busted my behind to make sure you guys are living the best life possible. I need y'all to do what I asked y'all to do because I worked hard. I get it, right? But then you also have to understand that things can happen to people to make them change their minds about pursuing certain things in their lives. They grow up and their minds just change because they are human. And once they become an adult and they are no longer in your household, they can pretty much do what they want to do. And just like you can treat them how you want to treat them. I did not like the mom. I didn't like the mom. I understood why she did some of the things she did, but I did not like her. I did not like her. The mother-daughter relationship, terrible, okay? Her dad was very, very sweet. Her brother was nice. We had some... We had all across the board multiple aspects of different characters. Unlikable ones, good ones, lovable ones. We had strong character development. I already mention that we had some slow parts because you really wanted to go to court. You was ready to go to court. How we finna duke it out? What's finna happen? And so when I got that, it wasn't what I was really hoping for. But I did give it a good rating because it is still a good story. And sometimes when you are reading books, even though if it was good enough for you to read and it kept you engaged and you just wanted to know what happened next, I feel like the author is doing their job. The author is doing their job. So there's no way possible you should be giving said book a low rating if you keep going back for more. And this literally had me going back for more. So I'm so excited that I finally checked this off. This will be book number 4 off of my 25 for 25 that I'm trying to read this year. It's really more than 25 books because I think 2 of the titles are series. But yes, this is book number 4. I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to pull from my TBR jar to see what I have to read in April. I looked at my list earlier today and I'm scared. So far, I've been having some good pulls, like books that I've been actually super excited about when I pull them. But now I'm getting to certain titles that I'm still not ready for, but I'm just going to make myself read them anyway, just so that I can knock that 25 for 25 list out. I think that's really one of my major goals. I'm not too concerned about my book count. Like, I got goals for that, but I'm not really pushing hard on that. But I am pushing hard on the 25 for 25 because I need to have more read books than unread books on my shelf. So if you've gotten this far in the video, let me know if you read this book. Let me know your thoughts about it. If you follow me on Bookstagram and you want to come over there and chat with me about some spoilers, you come on over, because I got some stuff to say that I really don't want to say in this video, obviously, because I want other people to read this book. So if you read it, let me know, spoiler free, how you felt about the book. If you want to get into some spoilers, my Instagram handle is always in the description box, so you can come over there, and I am always willing to chat about a book, especially when some stupid stuff happened. Okay, if you got this part of the video, make sure you comment, hey girl, hey, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, ta-ta.